Well, it's going to be great to be back in Autzen with our fans. Certainly excited about that. Certainly this rivalry means something to us, and our players are excited about it. Had some of the guys speak on it a little bit today to the team. So fun one for us. Got in some really good work this Monday and ready to hit the ground running this week.
Right here on the right, Zach.
Trent Bryce said earlier today that this rivalry is not what it used to be since the conference realignment. I'm curious if you've felt any difference in the past couple of years and going into this week.
I think all of college football feels different the last few years, but this game still means a lot to us for sure. And, state rights, it's the opportunity to play, a team in state that's just down the road. A lot of fans grew up either Ducks or Beefs, right? And even in our community in this state. So this game means a lot to a lot of people and certainly means a lot to the people on our team.
Front left, James.
With there currently not being a matchup scheduled for next year and discussions about the future, Dan, just what do you hope the future of this series is? I know you've talked before about you want it to continue, but it looks like it's not next year. So what do you hope the future of this series looks like?
Yeah, control what you can control. It's certainly a game that I hope stays on the schedule for the opportunity to get to play somebody in state. Obviously, we travel a little bit more with the Big Ten. I know their conference is going to be reset and different, and they're going to be traveling a little bit more. I think it makes sense to have teams that can play each other. They're relatively close. And again, I think it's 129 years that this rivalry's existed. That's something you'd like to keep alive.
Back right here.
Oregon revealed the Shoe Ducks uniform early this week. Just what was the preparation like, and what was maybe your part in the involvement in those uniforms, and what importance does Phil Knight have to this program, and why is it important to honor him with these jerseys this week? Yeah,
I mean, Phil, Coach Bowerman have done so much for this program, and it's very rare that we get the opportunity to say we want to do something, in support of them, and recognizing that relationship of a player and a coach and what they created. And then, the jerseys are super impressive, and just, like the whole there's a lot of meaning, throughout that. And ultimately, I think if anybody would have asked Phil in advance, he'd say no thanks, right? But when we were able to present that to him, I think it meant a lot to him because of what it stood for. It's not just about Phil. It's about that partnership between him and a coach, and how that grew into an unbelievable brand and created a lot of success for a lot of people, obviously Oregon, but also a lot of people across the world.
On the left here.
I know after Saturday's game, you said you're a little disappointed with the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, after a film review with the team, what their response is and maybe how that's translated to practice.
Still disappointed. Yeah, still disappointed. Disappointed with the way we finished. We want to be a team that wins in the fourth quarter. Again, regardless of who's in, what the situation is, you want to be able to take advantage of those moments. We had the ball, down tight to the red area and have to settle. Not able to, punch that in. We give up 2 scores there late. That's not something we want to do, right? It doesn't matter the situation. We want to be able to get off the field. We were able to do it the first 3 quarters. We didn't do it in the fourth.
On the left, John.
When you do get outgained on the ground like that, what's the message throughout practice this week for those guys in the trenches?
I'm on to this game, right? But there's a standard of play here, and you got outgained on the ground because you gave up a 79-yard run, right, at the end of the game. So, let's just keep it in perspective of what it was. Now, ultimately, I didn't think we won the line of scrimmage on first down on either side of the ball consistently enough on Saturday. So we have to continue to find ways to make sure that we're doing what we need to do as coaches to put ourselves in that situation and guys execute properly. But that's what we focus on, is how do we make sure that we take our medicine and do a good job of finding ways to put our players in great position to do their jobs and make sure that they're doing their jobs.
You're on the right, Zach.
Back to the uniforms. You mentioned the relationship between coach and player. When talking to Todd Van Horn, he said that relationship between Bill and Phil reminded him a lot of the relationship with you and Bryce. I'm sure you have a relationship with a lot of players on your team, but what does it mean to you, that connection that you have and the ability to kind of carry on this legacy?
Well, that's a strong legacy that I don't know that I could say I'm carrying on. Obviously, Coach Bowerman's had an unbelievable impact on a lot more people than me, right? But that's probably the funnest thing about being a coach is the relationships, right? I mean, the games are fun. Going to practice is fun. Winning games is, that's all fun. But the relationships with players, the lifelong relationships, that's the difference.
Back right, Jack.
Bryce is, through his career, he's always talked highly of this game, just how much this game means to him. When you see that, a local Eugene native talk highly about this game, does that make this game mean more for you as a coach? Because of how much this means to one of your players?
The game means a lot to me, regardless. But hearing our players talk about it, hearing former players like Ryan Walk talk about this game, like that, it definitely makes me want to go out there and execute at a high level. And Bryce is certainly one of those guys that it means a lot to.
Front left, James.
When you look back at the film defensively this past week, Dan, when y'all adjusted to base and particularly against 12 personnel, how do you feel like that worked, and how effective it was, and how it might be able to be applied, whether it be this week or weeks ahead when you play some multi-tight end teams?
Some good, some bad. Certainly some cleanup, but there was some positive.
On the left, Matt.
How do you feel like your running backs perform without Noah being available? And I guess also secondly, what's his status moving forward?
Yeah, well, to be determined. We'll see. If he's ready, we'll have him out there. Ultimately, I think we have a good back unit, so that's something that we've said as a strength, and we said that this is why we prepare the way we prepare, because there's going to be a lot of guys that could be used, and we've got a lot of guys that can play winning football, and that's certainly a position that's shown up.
Back right here.
The Oregon State offense, kind of in their first 3 games, has kind of been inconsistent. They have flashes, but one of the biggest consistencies is Trent Walker. Just what have you seen from him on film that makes him a player that you're going to have to watch out for on Saturday?
Yeah, he's a guy that gave us some trouble last year, and I think that there's moments that they're really close this year offensively. There's been some drops at times, but he's been a guy that's performed consistently and is there to make big plays for him. You always have to be aware where he's at. How do they utilize him in formations? They move him around, so he's certainly a threat.
On the left, Eric.
Remaining there, just thoughts on Malik.
Yeah, theirs. It's one of the strongest arms we've seen, right? I think he's got a cannon and delivered a deep ball last week Saturday against Texas Tech that was really impressive. So he's got a strong arm. He can throw it on a rope. That's one thing that really stands out. It's impressive by him. He's obviously been part of winning in the past. He has a lot of experience in different places. So I don't know. There's a lot you can throw at him that he's not prepared for. But yeah, he's certainly a quarterback that's capable of giving us issues if we're not aware of where he's going with the ball and we don't do a great job in coverage.
On the left, John.
How important for Dante on Saturday was it to get some experience operating in the offense behind the sticks, just trying to convert some of those 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 10s where he has to drop back and just pass it?
Yeah, it's difficult is what it is. So you'd like to be a lot more on schedule on 1st and 2nd down. But when you see a quarterback able to operate in those situations successfully, that's a big win for us, right? That's one of the hardest things to do in college football is convert 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 10s, 3rd and 11s. That 2-minute drive right before half was really impressive. And, there's a hard run in there too. And then turn that into an opportunity to create a touchdown was huge for us. When you talk about going in, a lot of middle 8 situations haven't shown up for us, but it showed up in that game and it created some separation, being able to come back, get a stop on defense and then turn that into a score. With Dier's big run, that was real positive.
Back left, Olivia.
Going back to the rivalry, you said you had some players talk to the team about what it means to them. Who were those players and what was the sentiment they shared?
Yeah, more than to speak on, right? And it'll be a conversation throughout the week. It's just something to keep at the forefront of our guys' mind. But a lot of conversations just ultimately what this game means to them, because there's some players on this team that haven't been here and don't know what it means. So it's important we share that history.
Front right, Zach.
3 leading corners this past week in terms of snaps were all 1st or 2nd year players. You've always said if you're good enough, you're old enough. But how encouraging is it to see these young guys get out there and make the most of their reps?
Yeah, encouraging, very. I mean, it's you want young players that can go out and play and execute at a high level, and we have some of those.
On the left, Matt.
Beyond just Walker at receiver, they've got a couple other guys. Wells is one of them that has produced big moments this season. Your thoughts on just the receiving core as a whole and kind of the test it's going to present for you?
Yeah, they have some speed. They're a team that takes shots, right? And that's something we have to be really alert for. And they do a good job of setting that up with the run game as well. So there's some familiarity there with the things that they do, and they've adapted to what they do. But there's guys that can make plays for them. Their backs run hard. They can take the top off. They've got a quarterback that can throw it as far as he needs to throw it when given the opportunity. So something we have to be alert for.
Back right, Jack.
Throughout the course of the season, you've always been, it's this game. The mindset has always been focused on the game in front of you and just focusing on your process. But when you know what's to come in the season, does that make it more difficult to keep everybody focused on the task at hand, knowing what's coming next week?
Not really. Not when that's your process, right? We had games after games last season too. We focused on the next one.
James.
Just Was obviously last week was Theron's debut and got out there a good bit. Just what did you see from him looking back at the film?
Yeah, winning football. I thought Theron did a good job of executing his job. And we were probably a little hesitant just to make sure that he was fresh and felt good as he was out there. But I thought he did well.
On the left, Eric.
We've seen Dante take a couple of hits upfield. I'm curious, younger quarterback, is the message to slide more? What conversations you've had regarding that?
No, I think you want to see your quarterback protect himself, but the situations where he's been hit, he's also trying to get the hard yard and get us where he needs to get. Now, that happens in football. It's football. What you love to see is when you have a tough quarterback, you take a play like that and take a hit, get up and make the next play. Right, and that's what he's been able to do consistently this season. But do I like seeing our quarterback get hit? No. Do I? I said the same thing with Bo Nix, man. I appreciate a quarterback that goes and fights to get a first down.
Here on the right.
You've talked a lot about how much depth you have in this running back room. There's a couple of young guys who really complement each other well. You saw it against Northwestern. What does that look like going forward with you and Coach Stein?
Yeah, let's let them keep complimenting, right? They're doing a good job and they're earning more reps and more opportunities as the season's gone. Obviously, Dier's had some really explosive runs. Jordan's been really good in the red area for us, punching in touchdowns. He runs hard. He had some unbelievable blocks on some of those runs for Dier as well. So complimentary football. Those guys are doing a really good job.
Back right, Aaron.
You mentioned at the beginning of the press conference just how excited you were to be back at Autzen Stadium, with school starting and the students back, and with how big of a deal that this game, with new players coming in and not a lot of players from Oregon that might understand the rivalry like Bryce. How important will it be to execute on Saturday just to show the fans like how much this rivalry does mean to you and to the players?
Yeah, we have a lot of pride, in our performance, and it's not just for us, right? There's entertainment value for the people that support us, and our fans are the best in the nation. We want to make sure we give them the best in the nation's product.
James.
For as many new guys as there are on both sides from this game, even from a year ago, Dan, anything that stands out to you about 49-14 and what might have been memorable from that? Because obviously, offensive line got corrected a lot, and then you had a bye thereafter. The season certainly got on track after that from last year. Anything that stands out from last year's game, last year's matchup?
We watched the film. We read our post-game notes. Nothing I'd probably be willing to share.
Matt?
What makes Jordan and Jaden really effective as almost like a quasi-fullback for you guys? You've had him both lead blocking multiple times. What makes them so effective at that?
They're physical, right? And they want to put their face in the fan. I think these guys take a lot of pride. I heard Coach Sample say it the other day. All right, I want you backs to draw up the 4 plays that you are most excited to run, or 5 plays that you're most excited to run in this game. And I think Makai says, he goes, I want to draw the one where I'm blocking, right? Like that kind of tells you a little bit of the mindset of the running backs in our room. Like they want to do what they can to help this team win. And it's pretty tough to defend when you have backs that can block like they block, but also run the ball like they run and catch the ball in the backfield.
James.
In a bygone era, Dan, it would be totally normal for a player like Jerry to spend a couple of years behind NFL-bound linebackers and develop, and then when they get their chance, they come through. What did y'all see over the prior 2 years as he was practicing so that when his time did come, that you could be as confident as y'all were, and along with B-Mike, to put him out there and then that he could deliver like this when he gets his chance?
Yeah, I think Brian's proven that he can develop linebackers. He does a really good job of that. And then when you have players that are coachable and want to get better and improve, that's a really good formula for success. And Jerry's, since the minute he got on campus, he's been a guy that's really had high ball production, and it's really been attacking some of those other areas of his game to say, okay, this is where we need you to improve. And he's done that. He's attacked it. He's worked really hard. He's not a guy that says a lot. He just lets his play kind of do the talk. And it's shown up for us in big ways this season so far. And the great part about Jerry is he's recognizing, okay, wait, I can still get a lot better, right? Regardless of what PFF has me rated, I know I could have done this play better. I could have done this better. And that's what's exciting is when guys see that and they attack it.
Back right, Aaron.
Oregon State's kind of struggled with their offensive line this season, just rotating 5 guys trying to find what fits. Just what success could Mateo and Tatum have this week, and what impact could they play on kind of shutting down both the run game but also getting to the quarterback?
Well, I think this game consistently has come down to line of scrimmage play. And again, that was a disappointment for me last week. I didn't think we handled the line of scrimmage as well as we need to. So that'll be a point of emphasis for us this week. I think it's really important. They do some things to combat that. The ball's going to come out quick. They're going to use some different stuff in protection, I'm sure, some different run game that's going to challenge you and not allow you just to tee off. So we'll just have to play what we see. And those guys have great experience. They've been good against the run. and they've been good against, when they get opportunities to rush the passer, but those may be limited in a game like this.
Back right, Jack.
Sticking with their O-line, they've struggled a little bit with a lot of false starts. We saw that against Texas Tech and even at their home game against Fresno State. What type of impact do you hope Autzen has to sort of help generate those false starts and those missed snap counts for Oregon State?
Yeah, I think it can be huge. It was big for us in the Oklahoma State game. This is an opportunity for our crowd to make a big impact. And obviously it showed up a little bit in the Texas Tech game. I'm sure that's something they're going to spend a lot of time working on. But this game this is one where the crowd can make an impact, and that's one of their opportunities to do that.
That's all we have for you, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you.